Audrey Werro just beat Femke Bol in one of the greatest 800-meter races in years, and now she is chasing a world record that has stood since 1983 on her own home soil. This rivalry is only getting hotter. Here is what it takes for Werro to make history in Lausanne. At the European Championships, Werro beat Bol and Olympic champion Keely Hodgkinson in a final that instantly became one of the biggest 800-meter races of the year. Werro won gold, breaking a championship record that had stood for over 40 years, with Bol taking bronze in her first major championship at this distance. Now Werro is heading straight into Lausanne with that win still fresh, a home crowd behind her, and a real shot at something even bigger, the outright world record. That world record belongs to Jarmila Kratochvilova, who ran 1 minute 53. 28 seconds back in 1983. In over 40 years, only a tiny handful of women have even gotten within a full second of it. Werro's own personal best already sits just half a second off that number. Half a second against a record that old is basically nothing. But before we get into how she could actually break it, here's how she got Bol into that position in the first place, because it explains everything about why this Lausanne race matters so much. For years, Bol was the best 400-meter hurdler alive, winning world titles and setting records that seemed untouchable. Then she made a stunning decision. She walked away from the hurdles completely and moved up to the 800 meters, chasing a brand new challenge with almost no experience at the distance. Nobody knew what to expect. Then Bol kept winning, lowering her personal best from her indoor debut down to 1:55.60 in Paris. And by the middle of the season, she had already beaten some of the best 800-meter runners alive, despite being brand new to the event. Werro, meanwhile, was doing something even more remarkable. A year ago, she was not even a household name. Her personal best sat at 1 minute 55.91 seconds, solid but nothing close to record pace. Then 2026 happened, and it happened fast. In June, Werro won the Stockholm Diamond League in 1 minute 53.98 seconds, suddenly the third fastest woman ever over this distance. 3 weeks later in Paris, she broke her own national record again, running 1 minute 53.80 seconds. Bol was right there in that same race, watching it happen up close. Both of them arrived at the European Championships in the best form of their careers, and Werro had a real scare before the final even started. She fell in her semifinal just 1 day earlier, clipped by another runner on the final turn, and somehow still advanced. Nobody knew if she would have anything left for the final against Bol and Hodgkinson. She had plenty left. Werro took the lead early, held off both rivals through the entire second lap, and crossed the line in 1:54.81 to smash that championship record. Hodgkinson finished second. Bol ran a personal best of 1:55.54 for bronze, an incredible result for someone who had barely raced this event before this year. Werro had beaten both of her toughest rivals on the biggest stage available, with a fall from the day before still in her legs. That win proved something important. Werro is not just fast in a controlled Diamond League race with nothing on the line. She can win when the pressure is at its highest and the whole field is trying to take her down. Now she returns to Lausanne, Switzerland, for the Athletissima Diamond League, and this is not just another stop on the calendar. This is her home country. The crowd will be entirely on her side, screaming for every stride. This exact track has already produced some of the fastest times in the sport's history. Put a runner in career best form on a fast track in front of a home crowd desperate to witness history, and you get a night built for something special. And Werro will have to face her biggest rival again, because Femke Bol is absolutely in this field. She proved Werro can be pushed to the absolute limit, finishing right behind her in both Paris and London earlier this season, and she brings her own dangerous closing speed to a field that already has plenty of it. Leading the rest of the pack is Lilian Odira of Kenya, the reigning world champion. Odira recently beat current world #1 Keely Hodgkinson in Eugene, proving she can beat absolutely anyone when it matters. That win came from a strong closing kick, not a fast early pace, which means Odira is dangerous in exactly the kind of finish this race could produce. Add in Sage Hurta Klecker of the United States and Prudence Sekgodiso of South Africa, both ranked inside the world's top 10, plus Ethiopia's Saida Tsehaye and Botswana's Oratalo No, and you have a start line with almost no easy positions. This is not a one-woman coronation. Every runner in this race is capable of pushing the pace and forcing Werro to earn every tenth of a second, and there is more on the line than the world record alone. Points from Lausanne count toward qualifying for the Diamond League final in Brussels in September, so nobody has a reason to sit back and let her cruise. So how does a 40-year-old record actually fall in a night like this? It starts with the pacer. Merte van der Scoot is set to lead the field through the opening laps, dragging the pack through a fast, honest pace instead of a slow, cautious one. Based on how this group has raced together recently, van der Scoot is expected to hold the lead out to around the 500-meter mark before stepping aside. Werro is expected to sit right behind her before taking over the lead herself. A pacer removes the guesswork. Nobody has to gamble on setting the tempo, which means the whole field gets dragged toward a faster time than they might run alone. That setup matters because of something Werro has shown all season. Look at her fastest races, and one pattern jumps out immediately. Her second lap, the closing 400 meters, keeps landing in almost the exact same range every time, usually somewhere between 57 and 58 seconds. Her opening lap has swung around more, sometimes faster and sometimes slower, but that closing speed shows up like clockwork no matter what happened in the first half of the race. That consistency changes everything about her odds. Werro does not need a flawless race from start to finish to break the record. She needs one specific thing to go right, and that is a fast opening lap. If she can get through the first 400 meters in around 55 to 56 seconds, her closing speed has already proven, race after race, that it can carry her home in record territory. Do the math, and the gap is smaller than it feels. Werro's personal best already sits half a second off the world record. She does not need a miracle leap in ability. She needs a slightly faster first lap paired with the same closing speed she already owns. Half a second sounds tiny, but at this level, it is the entire difference between a great season and a record that survives another 40 years. Nothing here is guaranteed, and that is worth saying plainly. Werro could get boxed in behind a slower runner at the worst possible moment. The pace could go out too hot and collapse in the final 200 meters, or too cautious and never threaten the record at all. Wind alone can add or subtract critical tenths in a race decided by fractions of a second. Records this old do not fall by accident, and other brilliant runners, including Bol herself, have already pushed Werro to the very edge without taking the win away from her. Still, it is hard to remember an 800-meter runner walking into a race with this many factors working in her favor at once. A record that has survived over 40 years. A runner who just beat her biggest rivals under maximum pressure. A field stacked enough to guarantee a fast pace instead of a cautious one, and a hometown crowd that will be roaring for every single step she takes. Whether Werro breaks the record in Lausanne or comes up just short, this rivalry with Bol and this season as a whole is already one of the defining stretches of her career, unfolding in real time right in front of us. So here is the question for you. Does Audrey Werro finally take down the 1983 world record in Lausanne? Or does this loaded field make it too difficult for anyone to run the perfect race? Drop your prediction in the comments below and tell us who you think crosses the line first. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.